What's up, everybody? This is Mr. Second Passport coming to you on a Saturday night here, stuck in curfew in Ecuador. Have to be in the house by 8 p.m. for, I think they did it for a week from now until about the elections. I don't know. Um, but anyway, today I am going to share with you 8 things that someone selling you the idea of Ecuador, like a realtor maybe trying to sell you property, would not tell you, but you should know before you move to Ecuador. Seriously. And if you like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. It really helps the channel. And as the channel increases, as the channel expands, I can bring you better and better material. So, number one is when you move to Ecuador, you get one of these, an Ecuadorian cedula or ID card. Everyone needs to get one when you move here. You're basically signing over your rights to your own body in the case of something were to happen to you and they found your body strewn out somewhere. Uh, because Ecuador is an opt out country, not an opt in country like the US, for instance, meaning anyone who has one of these who lives in Ecuador uh, basically is an automatic organ donor unless you opt out filling out some forms in the cedula office when you're getting the cedula. So keep that in mind if you move to Ecuador, that you are an automatic organ donor. If something happens to you, they will. And I have a friend in the coroner's office in Quito who's told me they literally gut your insides, take everything they can like a pig, and then they hand your body. They make up you over and put up whatever inside they need to kind of stuff you back up with something, so you look normal, and then they hand your body over to your loved ones. But anyway, if you don't want that to happen, which is totally reasonable, you gotta opt out, right? Now, I wouldn't feel so bad about it if Ecuador officials weren't so corrupt through and through, literally from the top to the bottom. And I know that's a big business, organ exporting. So I'm wondering, would my organs really go to people in need here in Ecuador, or would they be exported to the highest bidder so they line some dick's pockets? I don't know. Number two thing that nobody probably tells you is that a couple weeks ago, to give you an idea, I was in the US shopping at Kohl's, right, for some clothes. And it's amazing. They had this rack 30% off, and then they had an extra 20% off or whatever. And it was like two different discounts. So I was wondering, is it really going to all ring up? And sure enough, they have a nice, beautiful big screen, and it shows you very clearly. Wow, there it is. The exact amount that I figured in my head with the two discounts already in. It's amazing. And it's very clear and beautiful. When you're living in Ecuador, something to keep in mind is I've seen this especially prevalent in pharmacies, but especially but also in other big stores as well, that where it shouldn't happen is you're often paying. They kind of hide how much they're charging you, and they wing the products through faster than the speed of light, so you can't even see, how much they're charging you, and it's not that clear. And they don't take the discounts out until the end. They say uh, it's like in Supermaxi, it's really messed up. Trying to figure it out, and often you're paying a lot more than the marked price, what you think you're going to pay for something. Number three, that's right. Vaccines is a big topic nowadays. But one thing you should know about living in Ecuador, a friend of mine who's about my age, but he's a doctor here in Ecuador, doctor, okay, has warned me, hey, be careful with the vaccines you take in Ecuador, because to these like third world countries like Ecuador, a lot of these big pharmaceutical companies will send these experimental vaccines to countries like Ecuador, and they will pretty much use us like guinea pigs. So you want to be careful. Like I heard, for instance, a big batch of the Chinese COVID vaccine just came by. So you want to be careful when you're getting vaccines in Ecuador. But there's another thing as well. Like if you have a baby in Ecuador, especially in like a free public hospital, like I just did. I know, I'm cheap, but why pay for something you can get for free. Why pay for the service? It would have costed like a grand to have the baby in a private clinic when you can have it in a public hospital for free. I don't know. Someone explain that to me. Why not? But anyway, right? What they'll do and what I saw with my own eyes, they'll come and just shoot up the baby and they won't even tell you what it is. They'll just walk around and ding, 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 and they just da 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 da. You don't even know what's going in there. And same thing happens in especially the public schools in Ecuador. So be careful if you have kids in public school in Ecuador. They will just line them up one day and just ding 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 and you don't even know. They don't even tell you what they're getting. Sometimes they don't even know what it is. Number four, not so nice thing that probably no one tells you about in Ecuador, but it's true, and you better watch your back. Is like if you have a little fur baby, like I do. I got a little Chihuahua myself. Um, Little small dogs have a high commercial value here in Ecuador. If you leave them, if you take your eyes off them for even a second, like in a park, chances are they could get stolen. It's just a big thing here in Ecuador to steal your little dog. Little dogs, not the big ones. Big ones people don't care about, but the little ones, people steal them like crazy. So you want to be a little careful about this. What about cats? No. Interesting. Cats have zero commercial value in Ecuador. Nobody cares about cats. Nobody wants them. If you see kittens in a pet store, like I did once in Ecuador, I was like, oh, that's interesting. People are actually selling cats. And I asked, how much are they? They said free. You know, chances are cats, if you see them for sale, are in fact free. Nobody wants them in Ecuador. The number five thing, I thought I should throw at least one thing about real estate in here, since I'm dogging realtors in this video, is that what probably nobody tells you, especially someone trying to sell you something, is not going to tell you about real estate in Ecuador. Well, here's one. I could go on and on and on, and I will in this channel, but um, let's talk about condo fees, right, or homeowners association fees here in Ecuador. I've owned in both the U.S. and Ecuador at the same time. I can tell you that in the U.S., these homeowner associations have real clout, and you better pay, or you get hit with late fees, interest, and then sooner or later they literally will come after your property and try to confiscate it if you don't pay that. But down here in Ecuador, the homeowner associations don't have that kind of leverage. They don't have that kind of power. So a lot of associations and a lot of gated communities and a lot of towers may have a lot of people that aren't paying, especially if the administrator is not that thorough, and badass enough to keep people up to date with their payments. What they can do in recourse is limited. So before you buy in, it doesn't matter really if you're renting, but before you buy into a project, a tower, whatever, you want to really focus on the common areas and see how well are they taken care of. That'll kind of give you a little bit of an idea of how well the current owners are staying up to date with their homeowner association. I've seen a lot of projects and a lot of towers go to shit just in a few years because so many owners, Ecuadorian or whatnot, just get behind and never catch up with the dues. So something to think about before you buy. Let's talk about buses in Ecuador. Oh, buses are so great and cheap and plentiful. And that part's true, but one thing you should know before you board a bus in Ecuador, people ask me, how do these buses, not go off the cliff, going a million miles an hour around these hairpin turns and stuff on the Continental Divide, coming down from the highlands to the coast of Ecuador and stuff like that? And my answer is, well, you probably haven't watched that much Ecuador news. They do fall off the cliff a lot. Just something to keep in mind. I actually would limit my bus exposure in a place like Ecuador or South America in general. I remember catching a bus in Cusco, Peru. It was the worst bus of my life, from Lima to Cusco. 24 hours of pure hairpin turns. That was when I was a backpacker with no money. Just catch the $100 flight. Trust me on that one. So yeah, something to keep in mind before you catch a bus in Ecuador. The number 7 thing, probably nobody's told you about Ecuador, but you probably notice when you're living here or when you're just visiting, rather quickly, is that there's no jaywalking. It's not really a thing down here. It's not a law. So everybody does it because it's just handy, right? It's convenient. But right? Something to know as you're driving, as a driver or as a pedestrian. Because of this, there's no jaywalking. If a driver runs over a pedestrian, although they're jaywalking really bad, uh, the driver, even if he has insurance, is going to jail, at least for a certain amount of time, at least for some time, until until the judge might give you a reprieve, but you're still going to jail even if you have insurance. So maybe for an extended period of time, right? If they find you at fault for whatever reason. So that's why a lot of drivers in Ecuador have it in their head that if they do run over someone, and they do quite often, I've seen so many dead bodies strewn out in the streets in Ecuador with blood coming from them with the little tarp on them. Um, they have the idea of they're just gonna hit and run, and they do. So when you're walking across the street in Ecuador, be extra careful, because it's kind of created the opposite effect of drivers who know that they're just going to hit and run if they ever have any problem. They just drive like crazy, and they will run your ass over. Uh, they almost ran me over. They hit my elbow so hard it knocked the books out of my hand once in Guayaquil. A taxi driver, his mirror hit my arm. So anyway, something to keep in mind before you move to Ecuador as a pedestrian, also as a driver. Got to be extra careful. A thing that you should know that probably nobody tells you about Ecuador, because it's not so nice, right, is street food. Street food can be really delicious. You know, that fritada up here in the highlands, that pork or whatever, and I don't know, but people ask me, do Ecuadorians, they almost never wear gloves, and they always fondle the food a lot with their bare hands. Do they wash their hands? People ask me, and I've watched like a laser beam to test this out, and my answer is no. They don't wash their hands, right? So you want to be careful with street food in Ecuador. Like an Ecuadorian friend told me once, uh, maybe stay away from it. Don't trust poor people selling you food, and it's true. Might sound classist, but poor people don't throw anything away ever, and they're just sitting out there with their stuff, flies landing on it, baking in the sun all day. They don't throw that shit away. They'll just cook it a little more and sell it to you. So it's something to think about for sure. Unless you want the shits for like 5 to 7 days after that kebab on the street. Three little fun facts, bonus for you about Ecuador you probably didn't know. Number one, next week is the runoff election, the final elections for us, presidential, here in Ecuador. And I bet you didn't know, but for 3 days before the election, nobody can drink in public legally or buy liquor. Pretty crazy. Why do they do it? I don't know, but I bet if the U.S. would have done it, don't laugh, uh, we wouldn't have had Donald Trump for 4 years. Just kidding. I'm actually not political. Uh, I didn't vote in the last election because I didn't care about Biden or Trump. So, just to give you an idea. The number two thing that's you probably didn't know about Ecuador is if you lose one of these, once you have a cedula, don't lose it as a foreigner, because an Ecuadorian can lose it. $10, bing bang boom, instantly get the cedula replaced in registro civil, in the civil registry. But if you're a foreigner and you lose this thing, oh, it's a pain in the butt. I've done it. You have to go to the immigration, do a whole extra process. It costs a lot more, like pushing $100 to replace your cedula. So don't lose your cedula. Number three thing you probably didn't know about Ecuador is, did you know Ecuadorians actually, if you talk to them, like really get good friends with one, most of them deparasite every 6 months or so, or at least once a year. So what is deparasiting? Have you ever done it living in the US or Canada? Maybe not. I never did. But it's these pills that you take, that you buy at the pharmacy right over the counter, pretty cheap. And it's a process. You take a couple, like three, like one a day, and it's supposed to just clean you out. And yeah, Ecuadorians actually do it like quite often. So there must be a reason, right? Anyway, I'm Mr. Second Passport. Take care.